Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Russia warns NATO, and it's not a regular warning like, hey, you know what, how are you doing? Be careful. No, the Russians clearly warn NATO in case of Kaliningrad is attacked, as NATO has plans to do so. Russia will definitely immediately use nuclear weapons against NATO. So this is the news coming from Sputnik. I got two maps to show you what's going on. So let's start first with the article. This comes from Sputnik, and it is from 2 hours ago today on Saturday, July 26th, 2025. Russia warns NATO. Any attack on Kaliningrad will trigger immediate response. Now, what kind of response? They will clearly state. You see what that is? This is intercontinental ballistic missile, if I remember correctly, with a nuclear warhead right there. Any military encroachment on Russia's Kaliningrad region will be met with an immediate response using all available forces and means as provided for by the military doctrine and the principles of Russia's state policy on nuclear deterrence. Russian presidential aide Nikolai Patrushev told Sputnik. So, what does it mean? First, look at the map where this Kaliningrad is located, after all, right? This is the map of Europe. This is Russia with red here, or whatever that color is, pink, and here is Kaliningrad, between Poland, Lithuania, and the Baltic Sea. So here it is, my friends, if these guys allow me, in here. This is Kaliningrad. Now, one big problem in Kaliningrad is that between Kaliningrad and Belarus, there's about 60 kilometers. That's 40 miles. That those guys cannot have a connection with Mother Russia, which is the one right here. So what do we have here? We have an enclave that is really much separated, and Moscow warns if these guys are cut off or you guys plan to attack it, which the Russians claim NATO is, we will use ballistic missiles, nuclear missiles. All right, so in the big scheme of things, here it is in Europe, right there. I used to have a better mouse, but hey, my cat caught it and killed it. All right, let's go. Earlier this month, General Christopher T. Donahue, Commanding General of U.S. Army Europe and Africa, so this is the commanding, he's in charge, said that NATO had sufficient capabilities to neutralize Russia's Kaliningrad region in case of a conflict and had already developed a corresponding plan. And I will quote this imbecile. So he says, well, we have enough sufficient capabilities to neutralize Kaliningrad. If you forgot about this little thing right here, the nuclear deterrence, which is nuclear weapons. And I'm quoting, we have long been aware of the Western plans. So this is not the Donahue, this is the Patrushev. We have long been aware of Western plans concerning Kaliningrad. I can comment on them in the only possible way. Great. The Kaliningrad region is an integral part of Russia, and any military encroachment on it will be met with an immediate and crushing response using all the forces and means at our disposal as provided for by the military doctrine and the principles of state policy in the area of nuclear deterrence. Russia has all the necessary military instruments to guarantee the security of the Kaliningrad region, Patrushev told Sputnik. So again, you want to see where that is? I will show you again. Here is Poland, this is Lithuania, this is Kaliningrad right here. This is this little thing given by the Germans to the Russians. The Germans did not make a claim and said, you know what, we give it to you, Russia. Why? Because you have to. You allowed us to unify. So here it is. Now, when they say all military, it's all, everything. It doesn't say almost, and when you say immediately, and will have an immediate response, it's not going to be any warning anymore. This is the warning, and NATO knows it. NATO knows it. The problem is these guys are like children. I'm talking about NATO. They are poking. They will try to see how far they go. The same with children. That's the way children find out what they can do, by trying. You tell them, don't go over there, and he's like, When you're going to find out, and you tell the consequences. But the child will try to see if really those will be the consequences. And some people learn the consequences fast. Some people don't have to be applied the consequences, which I was not part of. I had to see the consequences many times, just the way I was, and I think I still am. Nevertheless, which is, I want to see, man. I want to see what's happening. Smack, smack, smack. Oh, what was that? Let's try again. Smack, smack, smack. Okay, that was my childhood. Makes sense now? So anyway, my friends, clear and simple. These guys poke and poke and poke. And unless, as I said many times before, unless these guys, the interests in charge of some Western nations, you don't have to own all of them. Unless these interests are a little bit touched in a negative way, if you know what I mean, only then they will react. They will tell their politicians, and the politicians will tell their bureaucrats, stop. The boss is hurt a little bit, and if he continues, he's going to get hurt more. That is, he's not going to make profits. That's the main pain. The main pain is profits. I'm not talking about personal. They can go like Mossad. You can hire Mossad, and Mossad clearly will take care of the interest. But wait, you can't have Mossad attack their interests. You know what I mean? All right, my friends, here it is. Kaliningrad is not for sale, and the Russians are serious about it. Will they try? Well, they will try to create problems. They will harass. Trying to create a de facto blockade on Kaliningrad. They tried with, let me show you. They tried with the transport from Russia, goes through Belarus in here, has to cross through these imbeciles here. So these guys start, Lithuania, especially a little country of 2.8 million people. Can you imagine? 2.8 million people. Anyway, it's like a village. So they created all kind of problems with the sanctions. The trains cannot go to Kaliningrad and give this. Now Kaliningrad, remember, Kaliningrad is on the Baltic Sea, so it could be a very beneficial port for the Russians. If you bring through the Baltic Sea or in here, instead of going to St. Petersburg, you can go right here and you can supply anything you need on this area. So the Russians clearly said, don't even touch it. They will try to touch it with subversive activities and with a de facto blockade. And, even if they say, no, we have no intention, Patrushev said, we are well aware of the plans and intentions. Don't do it. This is going to be the response. We are ready. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.